Guys, we are live. It's episode 28, if you can believe it, of the Coin Jam podcast. And I hope you enjoyed, as always, our intro video that was an original composition of one of our founding members, Jeremiah Jackson from Coin Op Corner, who I want to send a very special congratulations on the latest addition to his family. Jeremiah, congratulations. Hope you're out there. Probably not sleeping very well, but having the time of your life. So, how's everybody doing?
Good.
You guys been busy?
Very
busy.
Very.
I've been busy. I know Liam has been busy. I don't know about Kay, but Kay actually does this for a living, so I'm assuming that he's been busy. So we've got a lot to talk about today, a lot of updates, and then our topic du jour, which is the topic of the day, is we're going to do tier lists. We're going to go through the best and worst of everything arcade and pinball related and more, all kinds of different stuff. I have a whole list of stuff in our show notes. You guys probably haven't even looked at them, but hopefully we'll have some fun. And then throughout the episode, if there are things that you want us to rank the best and worst of, put them in the chat and maybe we'll cover it. Speaking of the chat, we got a lot of people here already. Ton of Overtime Arcade channel members: Arcade Alex, Encore's Arcade, Random Billy Bob, Marquee Mark, Jumping General, Mike Hip, Papa Sean 69, and also I see Dominic. I see Josh O.D. Brown in the house. Angelina's here. Haven't seen Angelina in a while. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, we're off and running. And of course, it is Sunday, May 25th, 2025. So that's 52525, right? Palindrome. So that's kind of cool. And it is Memorial Day weekend here in the lower 48. So I know I have work off tomorrow, but I got 4 hours of sleep last night. We'll talk about why. So I'm looking forward to sleeping well into mid-morning tomorrow. But what are you guys? How are you guys doing?
excellent. Today was a really good day.
Yeah.
Yeah. McLaren won the Monaco Grand Prix, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah. So, we haven't won that race.
Is that a soccer game?
We haven't won. No, we haven't won that race since 2008. So as
Monaco general practitioner, I don't know.
There's enough arcade games
Grand
that are
Prix.
labeled Monaco something that you all have kind of like a bit of a distance from racing. But yes, so today was a
He's probably got 4 of them in his warehouse.
Yeah, probably.
I once had 3 cabaret Monaco GPs all next to each other at once.
None of them worked.
No, they actually all worked. It's just nobody wanted them.
Yeah. We have so many of those in Alberta for some strange reason. Anyway.
How about you, Liam? How are you doing?
Doing well. Got lots of stuff to work on, so that always makes me happy.
I think this is a new background angle too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to update that picture soon as well, given all the recent additions.
Well, define soon, because I'm sure that these projects will take me quite a while to get through.
Well, okay. So why don't we kick things off with our round robin of updates? And I want to go straight to Liam because he's got some pretty BA whatever bad mamma jamma stuff he's been doing lately. So Liam, why don't you tell us a little bit of an update from Retrobotics?
Well, they're pickups. We did finally, something that we've been planning for months has finally come to fruition and arrived. The big crate that I talked about in the last couple episodes is finally here.
Environmental Super Zaxxon.
Environmental Super Zaxxon, actually, no. It was a Star Rider, a sit-down Star Rider project, which I'm super excited about. I've been on this Williams kick lately, and I've been working a lot with Williams games. And Star Rider is a very wild and interesting machine that basically doomed Williams as a company. And I've never actually played it. Funnily enough, I wanted to at Galloping Ghost, but it was broken when I was there. I'm really hoping that I'll be able to get this one running again because it seems like a really, really cool game.
Now, is it fair to say that you're on a Williams kick or a Williams addiction? Because you
That's yeah, funny you say that because we also picked up the same day as the Star Rider a Bubbles cabinet, converted Bubbles that I'm looking to refurbish.
Suck it to the vein. Let's go.
So,
but you also
halfway there on Williams games.
Yeah,
it's not an addiction because at the same time you passed up on a Motor Race USA cocktail.
Nobody wants that anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm only interested, with the exception of Moon Patrol, I'm only interested in the Williams games that were actually made by Williams. The IRIM games, I don't have the same. They're not good. They're bad. The Moon Patrol gets a pass because it's cute, but the rest of them, not so much.
I don't know, man. Maketrax is pretty good.
I'd said IRIM, and also Maketrax is bad.
Maketrax is great with a speedy chip. Whatever. You have an Inferno, so who cares?
But no, the Star Rider is really cool. It's missing a few pieces, so I'm still trying to track those down. Like for instance, it was missing a PIF PCB. I'm holding one here, but this was lent to me because I actually redesigned it, and I'm having new ones made.
What does the PIF do?
It talks to the laserdisc player. It's the interface that talks to the laserdisc player.
Is that like player interface? Is that what PIF stands for? There you go.
Not
just
a great show.
Not just a hat rack.
Script. What?
Said not just a hat rack.
But yeah, no. So those are the pickups. I've been working on Cloak and Dagger. I finished Major Havoc. I restored the machine, put new art on it, put it back in the arcade. I have been working on Star Rider since it arrived, and just general maintenance and some of our other things. I've got a bunch of Midway power supplies in. I'm going to try to reconvert our Solar Fox back to using a Midway linear instead of a switching power supply.
Brave.
So I'm excited to do that too.
Did you end up using my Freight Quote shipping company that I sent you, or was something better?
Something better. I used something else.
Cool.
And it ended up costing to ship a 80-inch crate, 80-inch by 36-inch by like 70-something inch. It
Which
costs
is
like
officially
$470.
Whoa,
that's crazy good. That's crazy good.
Like half.
Because that's like officially oversized too.
Yeah.
Like anything over 72 inches is considered oversized.
That's like two cabinets, two and a half cabinets length.
Yeah, it's big
by height. Wow, well done.
Yeah, $400 is an awesome price for that.
Yeah, that's like early 2000s shipping prices.
But no, it arrived in one piece already. Stroke of luck, it had a damaged handlebar. One of the handlebars was bent at a nearly 30 degree angle. And luckily someone on Kalov just had a new old stock left handle for the machine. So I bought that to replace it, but I'm really hoping I can find the remaining missing pieces. Anyway, those are my new updates.
That's awesome. I can't wait to go over there and play them. That
when it's
Rider,
finished in 10 years, who knows?
The Inferno, I'm sure you'll get like a wooden blaster soon. All the classics. Yeah. All right, Kay.
I would love one, but they don't grow on trees.
Kay, what's going on? It's still light out outside. I can see out in Texas.
They're made of wood.
Yeah, but there's also Duramold blasters.
Well, yeah.
Kay, how many Duramold cabinets do you have in your warehouse at this moment?
6 or 7. They're pretty buried though. I don't know.
You really have no? You have like 2, don't you?
No, I have 0.
Oh, I thought you had 1 or 2.
No, I don't have any.
How many have you had?
I don't think I've had any.
Really?
They can't stand the Texas heat.
No, they just completely melt. No, I told you that story about how I had the virtual lawn because I only had one because the other one melted in the sun. You think a Duramold would handle it? So I went on a road trip a couple days ago to New Mexico for a 400-mile round trip. and I picked up a couple of pinball projects. I picked up a second Raven because you can't just have one; you got to have two.
Mm-hmm.
You can offer them 2-for-1 sale.
Absolutely, you know. And this one is missing the exact same plastic around the display as the one I already had. So now I need two of those. This one's in roughly the same conditions. You know, it's just a pretty nice, you know, the side art's in pretty good shape. Playfield's in pretty good shape. Translight's actually in better shape than the other one. But roughly, I haven't plugged it in to see what it does, but the other one's completely dead. So this one couldn't be much worse. But it's otherwise complete. And I also picked up a Spy Hunter pinball machine. Would rather have the arcade machine because it's probably, you know, better. But I picked up the pinball machine. And cosmetically, it's in pretty good shape too. I also haven't plugged that one in either. These were just sitting on a trailer, but I bought them from a guy that does restore pinball machines, and these are just two more projects than he could fit in his space. So. I don't think there's anything horribly wrong with them or just, you know, projects that couldn't be taken on. It's just there were two more than he could handle. So I took them off his hands for a pretty decent price. And while I was there in Roswell, I also found someone who was selling flat screen monitors for $5 a piece. And I do have a fair use for flat screen monitors whenever I build 16-1s out of 8-liner cabinets. And or whenever I take, you know, like a tapper or something and convert it into a 16-1, you know, whatever I need it for.
Yeah, your poker face sucks. Nice try.
Whenever I feel like just taking a perfectly good CRT or vector monitor and just chucking it in the trash and upgrading it to an LCD.
When Kay wants to watch the world burn.
You know, like you do. I was running low on LCD flat screens, so I decided to stock up. And I bought 38 of them because that's how many they had. They had $5 a piece.
Wow.
So yeah, I just filled the truck, and that stocked my shelves because I've got some pretty big steel shelves that I store my CRTs on, and a couple of those shelves are dedicated to LCDs. And yeah, they're stacked on top of each other.
So if you arrange all of these together as a single panel, would they still be smaller than the TV you pulled out of the trash a couple years ago?
That's only a 60-inch. It's right over there.
So
it's my bedroom TV.
That Spy Hunter pin, Bally only made like 2,300 of those
because it was terrible.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it's actually terrible. Have you played one?
Yeah, I've seen one in the flesh and played it. I can attest to that, but it's garbage.
It is terrible. Yes.
Market failure, so they didn't make more of them.
Yeah.
But Raven, they made millions of
for some strange reason. Yeah.
They made at least two because I've got them.
Going price on Pinside right now for the Spy Hunter pinball machine is $1,290 to $1,510 American.
I will be selling it for twice that.
Good.
That's how prices. That's how prices go for around here. I can usually sell for most solid state pins, you know, late 70s, early 80s. I can usually get upper 2000s, lower 3000s for those, just because this is such a dry area. And I do chop them out and, you know, do the silicone rings and LEDs and all that good stuff, and usually new plastics and all that good stuff. I don't just wipe them down and, you know, get them out the door. It's just new boards and all that good stuff. So, but if you do, they're fully shopped out.
If you do that to like Spy Hunter, like you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig.
Yes, but I also have a lot of customers that are like, I want a pinball machine and I don't know anything about pinball machines. I just want one. I don't care what it is. I'm like,
fair.
Come on down. I've got one for you. So,
what about Raven? What do they go for?
Not much more than that, because I think I looked them up and they're roughly, you know, teens to early to low 2000s. They're roughly about the same price. The guy that I bought the monitors from also contacted me again. He's like, hey, I've got more. I've got like 100 more. I'll sell them to you for $3 a piece if you want more. And I was like, I mean, I'm not driving back to Roswell for it, but if I find myself that direction, yeah, I'll
found 3 more. You're gonna turn around for $15 worth of monitors.
No, he's got for $3 a piece. He has over 100 more.
Oh wow!
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow!
So yeah, I don't think I'll drive back to Roswell just for more monitors because I'm good for a while. But if I find myself that direction, yeah, I'll fill the truck with more. Why not?
That's insane.
that's a lot.
Well, from what I can from the stickers that are on them, they were from like Roswell ISD. So I'm guessing the school system like either shut down some of their computer labs or they upgraded some stuff and they just threw out all their old monitors. And I don't know if he was part of the cleaning crew or if he works for the ISD. I don't know. I don't care.
Teachers
So-
got
Or if he,
abducted.
you know,
Yeah.
Maybe he stole them all. I don't know. Whatever. But they all have
For
stickers
Roswell
on them that
joke.
say
one-
remove. So I think they were supposed to be taken out.
Just took him one every couple of weeks. He was a janitor. Just put him under his coat every couple of days. Like,
Well, that was the long con if he got that many.
Yeah,
This is
right.
over the course of many, many years. And, some of them have scratches on them. I'm sure plenty of them probably might not work when I plug them in. But even if 1 out of every 3 monitors works, I still got a killer deal. So,
Oh yeah.
plus a lot of them still have like VGA cables and power cables and HDMI cables still hooked up to them. So I got plenty of those cables along with them. So
Interesting.
that was a killer deal in and of itself.
Huh.
So that's really all I've really picked up recently. I haven't done a lot of buying stuff recently. I think in the last month, that's the only thing I bought was when I bought earlier this week. I haven't put out a lot of videos lately either. I've been doing plenty of work, but usually whenever I make a lot of videos, it's because I'm not that busy. If I'm doing a whole lot of work, I'm usually too busy to film. It's filming is usually something I do when it's a little more leisure, and when it's more convenient for me to film.
It's marketing to drum up business.
Yeah, it's not so much marketing. It's just more like, I've got the time. I don't mind doing this. If I've got deadlines that are, kind of hounding me, or if I'm just trying to get stuff done within a time frame, filming and then editing and putting stuff out just takes more time, and that doesn't make me any money really. That's more just for fun. So I don't want to take the time to do it. And so I've had some deadlines I was trying to get done to get stuff out the door before a certain time frame. It's just like, I'm not going to bother filming. A lot of this stuff isn't that interesting anyway. I'm just doing a lot of the same stuff repetitively. It's not going to make for great content. So I just didn't really film it. But now that I've got some of those deadlines out of the way, I am going to start filming some more stuff. I did start filming again today. I'm working on a Miss Pac-Man, and it's mostly cosmetics. I didn't film the repairing the PCB and recapping the monitor, stuff like that. I did all that first. Then I started filming, and now I'm mostly just doing cosmetics. I'm doing a lot of painting. I'm not doing a full restoration, so I'm not stripping the cabinet and doing stencils or anything like that. I'm doing touch-up paint. Since it's been in the West Texas sun, all the pink is now white. So I'm just replacing. I'm painting all that with pink again, and then I'll just be doing touch-up paint on the blue and yellow because I can color match that. Can't really color match the white, to white again. I gotta do that all pink. But
it looks like Ms. Pac blue that you're wearing on your shirt.
Kind of, yeah. The colors, the paints that I have are old enough that they go with the previous color codes, like the Rhapsody and the Sunny Side Up and the Passion Flower or whatever they're called.
Which they don't make anymore.
Yeah, they no longer are those color codes. They have updated ones that I don't even know what they are anymore. But this paint's still good, so I can still use them. But once those paints when I run out or they've gotten old enough, I can't keep mixing them and using them. I'm gonna have to actually look up the new color codes and buy new paint.
Yeah, I found decent matches of pre-mixed paint that I use, and the blue and the pink where I think were really good, really close. The yellow that I got was about a 90% match. There was a 95% match, but it was only available in like the gallon. I didn't need a gallon, so compromised.
Yeah, the ones I bought aren't gallons anyway. They're all pints. So
What?
Yeah.
What's a gallon?
It's like
what the f is a kilometer?
Well, it's funny you say that because I've watched every single episode of Trailer Park Boys, including the episodes where they fill milk jugs while driving, right? And those are gallons, so you've got gallons up there. Don't act like you don't know it.
But like a liter of cola?
Was it like 1.75 liters or something like that?
What's a liter of cola?
Or 3.75? Whatever. Says the guy wearing a Donkey Kong Jr. orange t-shirt.
A message from the government of Canada.
I don't think Donkey Kong Orange is metric, but whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
I was asked in the comments if they're mostly 4:3 ratio monitors. They're all over the place because they're totally different size. They're totally different aspects. Most of them are 19-inch, but they go all the way up to 26-inch, and they're completely different ratios and different models, and they're all over the place. But just a lot of variety of different stuff. But one of them actually isn't even a monitor; it's an all-in-one. It's a full-on computer. So I'm gonna hook that up and see if it works. No, not like a good one. It's a Dell, but I can hook it up and see if it works. I mean, for $5, a fully working computer would be pretty cool.
$5
Chance is giving free advertising to Dell, and they're not even a sponsor.
It's like $5 is $5. I mean, that was my nickname in college,
There you go.
Totally forgot that was on there.
Nope. Yeah, I'll put out some videos soon. So far, the only videos I've been putting out in the last couple of weeks have just been on this days. So it's just repeats of previous ones. But I'll put out fresh content forthwith, whatever that word means.
There you go. And before we go to Chance, I want to say thank you to Marquee Mark for getting us started with a $1 million super chat donation. We've got a very long way to go to hit our goal. If you're interested in supporting that, it's for a good cause. Click on that button at the top of the chat window.
You make it sound like it's like a charity event we're doing.
I mean, I'm happy to make a
Oh, no. Anyway, continuing on.
So please, tell us what's been going on up in Alberta.
Lots of stuff. First and foremost, I can officially announce that I am no longer on the lookout for a PlayChoice 10 Double Dragon cartridge.
Holy cow!
Oh my god!
It's
I was
so
just
rare.
about to mail you mine.
You actually found one?
Thanks to Cameron. On the Overtime Arcade Discord, I am now the owner of a Double Dragon cartridge. So very excited for that.
I thought about taking all of the games out of this except for Double Dragon and just having that track mode on a
just loop over and over.
Could you just imagine that? That would be so painful. But no, I mean, finally. So the PlayChoice 10 board I have in my Wild Gunman screen accurate, somewhat reproduction Back to the Future 2 cabinet is now done. That is a beautiful thing. So really, really excited. So Cameron, thank you very much. If you're watching or will be watching later, I don't have the list of who's online right now, but so that's good. That's new. What else is new? Josh and I are planning an event.
You're getting married?
An event?
No, we're not getting. We're both.
I mean, that's what they call everything when you want to get a wedding rate done, but you don't want to pay all the money. You just call it an event.
Anyway, so Josh Brown and I are proud to announce July 3rd to the 13th, 2025 at the Calgary Stampede. We will be hosting what we're calling 8-Bit Roundup with our partners Nitro Pinball, Retro Oasis, and Death Save Pinball, LTC Pinball, and a couple of other smaller partners. Basically, what we're looking at here is we're going to be putting in about 45 arcade games, 40 plus pinball machines. They're not all on there in the graphic. This was an early rendering that I did.
And they're all the same. What is that?
That's a Mandalorian. Yeah. So
they're all Mandalorian.
Fun fact, they're not all Mandalorian. But while I was making this rendering, I was using SketchUp. And for some reason, I know I can get most of the pins that I need that are actually coming. But I put the arcades in first, and then putting more than about 5 or 6 pinball machines started crashing the free web version of SketchUp. But anyway, you get the gist. That whole back corner, that whole back row of about 32 pins is going to be for a couple of major pinball tournaments that we're going to hold. IFPA sponsored events. That's going to be run by Death Save. So we're hopefully going to do those on the Saturdays of the Calgary Stampede. And then a women's league tournament. The Calgary Women's League is going to run them as well. We're putting up a bunch of cash prizes, a bunch of other stuff. More stuff that we're going to be announcing in the future. We're going to do some decaling up. Hopefully Ms. Pac-Man decals all over the floor.
So what?
Yes, I know. Anyway, so we're some massive Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man decals on the side. Nitro Pinball's bringing their trailer. That'll be our little home base, which will be really cool. We got a token machine, so this will be like old school the way it should be. Like you drop in a quarter, you drop in a loonie, and away you go. I think we're like the only cash venue on the Stampede grounds this year. But yeah, 1.4 million people visit the Calgary Stampede last year, and so we're pretty excited to do that. So yeah, 8-Bit Roundup, Calgary Stampede. If you're in the Southern Alberta area or want to come compete, we'll be announcing the tournament entry soon. We just have a couple more things to work out with that, but yeah.
Show us that picture that you quickly swiped back away from.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. So we partners Nitro Pinball have picked up some arcade games. That's kind of the upgrade here. So, or the update here. So actually Nitro picked up all of these games. So Tapper Cocktail, a Jump Bug Cocktail, which is like, it's only got like a few hundred plays on it. It's like near mint. PGA Tour Championship, decent game. Star Castle, Armor Attack. That Armor Attack.
Hold on. What? Star Castle by Rockola.
Yeah, all Rockola games here.
All Rockola games. That Star Castle, I think, only has like 700 plays on it. That Armor Attack has like 70
by Rockola.
Yeah. That Rockola Armor Attack, which is the upright version of the cocktail that I have in my basement that belongs to Brian from Paradise Arcade. Brian, please come pick up your game. Please. That has 77 plays on it. That Warp upright has, I want to say like 600-700 plays on it. And that Pioneer Balloon has only like 600 plays on it, I think. That Pioneer Balloon.
What do you expect? What's the population up there?
In Alberta? Like 5 million people?
Whatever you call your country.
Like the country of the Republic of Buffalo? No, I don't know, like 5 million people in the province of Alberta alone. Anyway, regardless. Yeah. Okay, I get it. So anyway, those games will be available to play at the Calgary Stampede. The Pioneer Balloon, everything works except for the 2 vector games have some monitors that need some work, but other than that, I've spent a couple of days over at Nitro's warehouse getting them ready. Oh, and sneak of some of the pinball machines we're going to be having there. I believe King Kong, maybe Dune, definitely Dungeons and Dragons, Jaws, a bunch of new Sterns. I'm pretty sure everything current. Oh, Pulp Fiction will be there. Multimorphic pin will be there. There's tons. Like I said, we're bringing 40 plus pins. It's going to be a riot. So yeah, if you guys are in the Southern Alberta area in July, come on down.
It's going to be a stampede.
It's going to be a Calgary Stampede. Labeled as the greatest outdoor show on earth. Calgary Stampede is over 100 years old. It's massive. So yeah.
You know what else is massive? This $2 million super chat donation we got from random Billy Bob, who wants us to save the cabarets. Do you have any cabarets that you're bringing to the Stampede, Josh? Or Chance and Josh?
No cabarets, actually. 2 cocktails. No cabarets. We got most of the 4-player uprights from Konami. I'm actually personally not bringing any games except for one. I'm just because I have an opportunity to build a 4-player X-Men cabinet. This isn't the full-size art. This was a sample. I had a local...
a one-up?
Yeah, right. No, I had a local printer print me up a sample for what the art's going to look like, and he's doing a really good job. We got a Simpsons one here too, because we're doing some Simpsons art. Anyway, so yeah, so we'll have a ton of games there, lots of favorites. I don't know the list off the top of my head, but we're talking like we're gonna bring a Tempest. We're gonna bring a Ms. Pac-Man, a Pac-Man, Donkey Kong Jr.
Bringing a Tempest.
Why not? Okay, like
Tempted
come
fate.
on. This is a 10-day event.
He's bringing a Star Castle and an armor attack.
I'm also bringing. Well, the Star Castle may or may not come. It's a long story
That
with that one. But we
6100,
won't
I
talk about
bet,
that.
will survive longer than the vector beams.
Oh, probably. We're gonna bring a full, because like between the 12 of us that I've like we've assembled a team, like the team of Southern Alberta Pinball and Arcade, and with some of the guys that are coming are some of the most brilliant people in the hobby that I know locally as well. Like one of them, Jeff Atwood, who designed the test pattern generator and our Data East filter pins for White North Retro. Jeff will be there on occasion to help us do with repairs. And just, Retro Oasis guys, my buddy Craig, like Cam West, there's going to be so many people involved with this. It's going to be so much fun, and hopefully it works.
Hopefully nothing goes down.
And if it does, we'll just put a sign up and we'll fix it. Like, come on. It is what it
There
is.
you
These games are, what does Josh like to say? These games are industrial machines. They were meant to be played. Like, I know a lot of them are 40 years old, but come on, like, let's enjoy them and let's share. This is one of the big things that we wanted to do with this. And Josh brings this up all the time. We want to control the narrative in the Calgary, Alberta area about what a real arcade game is. Because we really feel that in the last, 10 years, when people hear the word arcade, they think of like redemption games. We've got a chain of arcades up here, which are like play choice, or not play choice, like Palladium style. What's
redemption
the term?
games?
It's called Rec Room. The Rec Room, and it's just redemption games. And you swipe a card, you get like a bunch of tokens on a card. You swipe a card, you play for tickets, and then at the end of the day you get a slap bracelet with their logo on it. And it's like, that's not fun. That's not an arcade. They got maybe one or two pinballs in there, and they're beat to ever living. So like, we really want to control the narrative around what a classic arcade game is. What's that feel of putting a quarter into a coin door and hearing it go down and starting it up? Some of the people out here, they can now share this vicariously with their children and with their friends and relive, the past. So that's kind of what we're doing.
So what happens after this? Are you gonna, if this, this is not a permanent installation, are you gonna start a barcade?
No. This is just 2,000 square feet of, classic arcade games from 79 all the way up to like 95. And then pinball machines from like, the early mid 80s all the way up till, well, now, because King Kong from Stern is coming out soon. So that'll be there. But no, we're not. No, this is just like a bunch of like our good friends and businesses. The idea with this was we wanted to be able to promote pinball and arcade in our area. So Retro Oasis, Death Safe Pinball, Nitro Pinball, and our friends Cam and Wes, who have a bunch of games on locations in various places. So it's promoting those businesses and, just doing something fun. So,
well, and you mentioned a minute ago, Great White or
White
Retro,
North Retro.
what's it? White North Retro. And Kawaru 5 wants to know, when's that TPG coming out in the Game Boy case?
Yeah, we're actually making a better version of it. Jeff's kind of working on a few
Game Boy
things.
Advance.
Yeah, right. No, it's not Jeff's full-time job. It's not my full-time job. We just do it for fun on the side. We will come out. The challenge is finding some of the pieces that we want. Like we don't know. Do we just release it as a board and you find your own in your Game Boy shells by yourself, or do we partner with somebody out there who sells Game Boy shells and then sell them a bunch of the boards? So I know we announced it like 2 years ago. We're still working on it. We actually have a brand new prototype that's in the hands of some of our friends locally. It's going to be pretty cool, but we'll get there.
What about your friends remotely?
You guys, yeah. Well, maybe we haven't talked about it. I don't want to promise. Like Jeff's just got the one.
I'm paying any tariffs.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. We'll talk.
Cool. Anything else, Chance?
This question is Mark's asking, are they actually coin up? Yes, we're running on quarters and loonies for the whole event. I have hundreds of Canadian quarter coin mechs downstairs right now in the process of going through the ultrasonic cleaner. So yeah, we're definitely, it's going to be coin up. So
do you not have to do like tax stamps or taxes or anything like that?
No, the province of Alberta doesn't have the same kind of it's not well regulated in the province of Alberta. So
donate to the Chance Legal Defense Fund.
now, actually, what's interesting? No, I won't go there. But anyway, yeah, no, it's a completely different beast up here. So
cool. All right, Chance. Well, yeah, actually, yes, this is the new T-shirt that I just released, Chance. Thank you so much for asking. I think.
Hey, is that the new
really,
T-shirt
really nice.
you released?
Yeah, the originality T-shirt inspired by a certain 90s fighting game. Totally not derivative. It's a completely original work. And in fact, it's 20% off right now. Everything in the Overtime Arcade official merchandise shop, 20% off, but it ends in just under 2 hours. That sale ends at the end of the day today, Eastern time. So if you want to get one of these, I actually gave these to one of my buddies today, Nintendork. He goes Jody. He goes by Nintendork on Twitter and elsewhere. So get your Sub-Zero inspired originality T-shirt now for 20% off. And yeah, and other than making T-shirts, I've been super busy. So busy that I have failed, as people have now been pointing out to me or reminding me, failed to edit and upload the audio version of the last 2 episodes of the Coin Jam podcast. So I'll be doing this episode and the last 2 this week. So get ready for your podcast apps to be overloaded with Coin Jam, jammed with Coin Jam. So now reading the things that have been blatantly edited in our show notes. Thank you, Chance. So I've been busy. So finished the Star Wars Ampliphone monitor just in time for May the 4th at Back to the Media Arcade in Winchester, Virginia, which was great. That was an interesting project. I also just last night at like 1 o'clock in the morning finished repairing my Red Baron, the Red Baron that I picked up just before our last episode. So that project's 99% done, totally playable, ready for the lineup. So that was really cool. There were so many things that went wrong like at the last minute, and not really a spoiler, but I thought I was done at like midnight. And then it wasn't booting, and I ended up having to replace the CPU socket, the 6502A CPU socket, which is always fun, because I had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning this morning because I was heading to Pennsylvania to pick up 2 games, which is now the 3rd and 4th game I've picked up in May since the last episode. So earlier this month, I got a Mortal Kombat 2 from channel member Jerry Voluptuous. Made a trade with him and got a really nice Mortal Kombat 2 with original side art. And I think there was parts from Tony Arrowwood and from SNES Cube 64. So kind of a team effort getting all that together, which was great. I also picked up a mystery game that I got in trade from Mark at way back. Actually, that fulfilled the trade for the J-Rock Hubert that I gave him last year. Mystery Cabinet. But if you go and watch the live stream that I did, was it last week? Not the 6,000 subscriber live stream, but the one after that. We set a goal and we hit that goal with super chats, and so I revealed that cabinet at the end of that live stream. So go back if you want to check that out. And then I got 2 games today. Now these were games that got grabbed last month. So Jody Nintendork, who I mentioned, he's more of a pinball guy. He has a pinball repair business. He does a little bit of video game stuff too. He had a bit of a mini warehouse raid last month. I wasn't actually able to get up there in Pennsylvania and participate with him, but he got 4 games for free, but then they asked him for a token amount. So essentially these games were free. He got a Bally Kings of Steel pin, a project, very much a project, and a Frogger, which with just a little bit of work, that Frogger fired right up, and he's already got that Frogger out in location. And I got 2 awesome games that I'm really excited about. One's a conversion that should be relatively easy to unconvert because reproduction parts are available for it. And the other one is a Survivor Unmolested. Needs a little bit of cabinet, like cosmetic touch-up work, but excited to sink my teeth into both of those. I still have 4 pending pickups, 1 more trade fulfillment, and 3 games that I still have on loan to Mark Back to the Media Arcade in Winchester. So space is the name of the game right now, and I've been passing up great deals left and right. We were all talking about this in the Overtime Arcade members only Discord yesterday. There was a free mappy posted yesterday on Facebook Marketplace in West Virginia, like kind of 4 hours away from me, which is a little bit far for a spur of a moment thing. But it was a non-working complete mappy, including the giant top marquee, and it was kind of painful not to just drop what I was doing and going to get it, but I had to finish the Red Baron, and then I had to get up super early to pick up 2 games today.
And it got picked up by some people who are going to multicade it, and they're talking about it on Reddit.
You have failed as someone protecting the hobby in your area.
I know, but the earliest I could have gotten it was tomorrow. So
I just saw a video on it on Reddit where they've drilled open the back door and they're pulling wires.
Oh, let's go hack!
Somebody's got to file a police report on that. I have also the deal is still available to me. This is for a game that's very high on my wanted list. It's a project, but the guy has most of the parts needed for it, except a PCB, which is easy enough to get. It was he was coming halfway for something else. Was willing to bring it halfway, but I might have to make a trip to South Carolina to get this game. But yeah, I've been making space since the last episode. I have sold or traded 6 cabinets. The Superman in the Taito Superman and the Dynamo HS7 and my Moon Patrol cocktail project both went to Jerry Voluptuous, Overtime Arcade channel member, and my buddy, and the best pizza maker. As you can see, his Mambroso's pizza box over there. He had his grand opening of his new location. I also got rid of my extra pack mini. Pac-Man Mini, my Ms. Pac Mini, and that weird golden tea cabinet that I've had for years. Those went to Mike, another channel member, a good buddy of mine. He lives locally as well. My spare Outrun Mini project went to Cameron Cardwell. I dropped that off at Fastenal on Friday, which was my first time ever shipping something via Fastenal. I've received stuff via Fastenal, but it was actually super, super easy. We can talk about that sometime. But I didn't even fill out the freight request form until like noon. And I dropped that thing off at 3:00 the same day. So like 3 hours after I'm like, that's not normal. It says each step in the process is like up to 24 hours, full business day for them to respond. But that was great. The Fastenal folks were awesome. I can't even read my notes because you guys vandalized them. I still have a bunch of games for sale. I am selling the Carnival, which is fully working. I am selling the Vanguard, which you can't see, which is fully working. I'm selling my Sly Spy in an HS2 cabinet. That's actually on location right now, back to the media. I'm selling my converted Robotron project. You guys are deleting my stuff. I got more coming soon, too. There's at least 2 more games, maybe 3 that I'll be getting rid of soon to get more stuff to come in. You guys just delete all of my stuff. So
we didn't delete anything. We just wrote a phallic word everywhere.
Over and over.
This is why I print stuff out, so you can't just put graffiti all over it.
Yeah. So
it's 2025. Cool. You own a printer?
All right. What am I missing?
Yeah, I run a business. I have to print invoices. Come on.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, can I ask a question, Charlie?
No, hold on. Because we have another super chat donation, a $2 million super chat from Stringer Films from Matt. He says, Nick and I use Fastenal a lot, cheap and easy. I'm assuming, is that Nick Masden or maybe a different Nick? Yeah, it was really simple. The hardest part is like getting a pallet, but if you know where to go, you can just take them, right? And
back lot.
Yeah, super easy. Super easy. The guy and they actually like moved locations. So when I put into my GPS, I'm like, this is not where I remember picking up games from. But they had moved my local Fastenal to like a different industrial park. But yeah, Fastenal, nothing but good things to say about it. I've had good experiences with Beltman too. And that's more of a white glove door-to-door thing. With Fastenal, it's terminal to terminal. So you've got to drop off a palletized game at a terminal, and then the recipient has to pick that up. It's not a door-to-door thing, but it is a bit cheaper. So yeah, sorry, Chance. We can stop what we're doing now and let you talk.
No, I was going to ask because you've done this the last couple of episodes. You've said that you've purged this or you've purged that. Like everything's
changing.
everything's changing. So, but I just out of vain curiosity, because the episode, I think 3 episodes ago, we asked you if we had to have an intervention. And
I'm just changing, a lot of coming and going. Everything's just, it's all moving around.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We get it. In other news, Mortal Kombat.
I picked up
3,
2 games today, so don't worry, I'm not getting rid of stuff.
That's fair. In other news, in the chat right now, we're debating Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, which is the greatest. Is so much so that Josh said he would start a knife fight with anyone said that 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 is better than 2, and I just got a calendar invite for a knife fight. So yeah, apparently
I'll referee that knife fight.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just tie your wrists together.
I'm not a big 90s game fan, but I do have a Mortal Kombat 2.
I mean, just because it's popular doesn't make it right. Candle in the Wind was the most popular song of all time. No?
I thought it was Happy Birthday.
Moving on.
Anyway, all right. Am I missing stuff? I'm scrolling back through all these knife emojis in the live chat. Anyway, all right. So let's change gears a little bit and move on to our topic du jour, which is the topic of the day. We're going to talk about the best and worst of everything. We got a whole bunch of different categories here.
He really hates
sure
French.
We are all going to agree
you and me both
on every single one of these. And everyone who's listening or watching is going to agree as well. So there's not going to be any controversy. Nobody's going to be arguing. No. There are going to be no debates. So yeah, and we'll start with vector games. So we'll go around and everyone will say what they think are the best and worst vector games. In our show notes, I put a very convenient link to Andy's Arcade. He's got a list of all known, including unreleased and like prototype and speculative vector games. So who wants to go first? Maybe Kay. Which vector games do you like and which do you hate?
So I don't have a whole lot of experience with vector games, but I think for favorites, I think simplicity is best. I'm a big fan of Asteroids.
Good choice.
I think part of that would have to be because Asteroids is my dad's favorite game. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of Asteroids in my household growing up on the Atari 2600. That was my dad's game of choice. I would come home from school and my dad would be playing it in my room and it'd be like, yeah, you can have the TV as soon as I'm done with this game. And he would play the same game for hours because he was very good at it.
Just marathoning it while you're begging to watch your Saturday morning cartoons.
It was like, come on, man, you're doing this on purpose. But Asteroids Deluxe is good too. The shield is way better than Hyperspace. It's much more practical, but the other things that are going on make it a much tougher game. So I think the original Asteroids is better. I'm also a big fan of the first Star Wars game. I think that's a pretty decent game.
Mm-hmm.
It would seem a lot of people would agree with you and a lot of other manufacturers at the time, because on that list of vector games, a full 15 are either clones or derivatives of Asteroids.
Yeah. Yeah, because nobody was original back then.
Lot of space shooters anyway, but
Thanks for the synergy.
And
Asteroids is the goat.
What do you hate? What gets your goat? What's the worst vector game?
I don't know about worst vector game. I've played several vector games that I just don't particularly care for, that I don't get the appeal of. I didn't care for. I had one for a very short time. I didn't care for Quantum.
Dun dun dun.
Really?
Those are fighting words in the arcade. I don't agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with UK. I don't agree with people loving Quantum, but I think that I think it's overhyped.
Yeah, let's say it's probably a rare game for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was okay, but I also didn't care for Gravatar.
Not a great game.
Because it's too hard and you're not any good at it.
Wow.
No, I got pretty decent at it because I did spend the time to understand the physics of it and kind of learn the strategies and all that. It just, even though once I did that, I just didn't have any fun doing it.
I do like Quantum. but I have to decouple how much I like Quantum because I think that the hardware is technically interesting from how good the game actually is.
If you take away the John's Arcade effect on Quantum, is Quantum still a good game?
I've never seen the John's Arcade Quantum video.
He just hyped it up so much over so long that I think there's a knock-on effect with people in the community that Quantum is like so. Like I get it, like he loved that game and that's totally fair, but I think like it's not a great game.
But with so little gameplay of the actual game, like it's mostly working on the cabinet and the monitor.
Yeah, which was a shame because it just kind of shows how the game sucked.
Yeah, but
Liam, how about you?
My favorite thing about Quantum was selling one and how much I got for it.
There you go.
There you go.
Liam, how about
like
you?
A true businessman.
Best and worst vector games.
I'll start with worst. I would probably go with Barrier or freaking what was that one? Sundance. Both of them are terrible.
Garbage.
Absolutely terrible games that command insane prices. I'm sure people who have been around on K-Love for a while will know about the Sundance story.
People want to commit felonies over them.
Right?
Wow. So much that it's basically an adjective on K-Love to get Sundanced out of a building. But no, that game is absolutely terrible. And I've tried playing it and it's not good. It's not good. I wouldn't keep one of those. Best game... I haven't played all the vector games. The favorite of the ones that I've got is definitely Major Havoc, and I think that would be my favorite of the machines that I have played total. I have played all the Sega vectors. I've played all the Atari vectors. The only ones I haven't played all of are the Cinematronics and some of the rarer prototype stuff. But Major Havoc is really cool. It was I think it's the second to last released vector of any type, and it was just a love letter to the technology. It was extremely intricate in what it did and how they animated it. I think it was just an excellent piece of technology.
And it's like 3 games in one.
It's like
it's a platformer, it's a shooter, and it's a breakout clone.
Yeah.
So it's one of my favorites.
Fair.
Chance, what about you? What do you love? What do you hate?
I just can't say hate, but what's garbage and what's good? I would say probably my least favorite of all the vector games I've ever played is Ripoff. I think Ripoff is a ripoff. I'm not a fan. It's just gameplay. I don't like it.
I like Ripoff, and I like it because I think that the enemy routines are really interesting.
Okay, from a technical aspect, I'll give you that, but I just don't. And fun fact, in that same vein, what I think is the best vector game of all time is Tail Gunner. I agree with Josh. And if you know anything about Ripoff and Tail Gunner, yeah. So Tail Gunner, amazing, really, really good. We went down to Grinkfest 7 in 2018. When was that? And I just fell in love with that game. Tail Gunner is phenomenal.
But what about
good?
What about Tail Gunner 2?
Haven't played it. Can't make a rent. I just
it's the same game.
Yeah,
it's the same game.
Is it? I don't know. I've never actually played
the same game. Tail Gunner 2 is just in a cockpit form.
Oh, good to know. I had no idea. Yeah.
And I think Tail Gunner 2 had like a color overlay.
Tail Gunner 1 was like blue, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, like Red Baron.
It was just so much fun. Those little joysticks, like it was a good game. I think I spent most of my like playing games there. I most of my time I would go back to play Tail Gunner 2. In fact, before we went, I liked it so much that before we went to Grinkfest, I had a short list of all the must-have games, and I was like, as I collect the games that I want, I started like checking them off. And when we got to Grinkfest in 2019, I was pretty much done collecting. I think it was like a Tapper Ice Cold Beer, and I think there was one other that I didn't have on that list. But I started a whole new list, and that was because I was having so much fun playing Tail Gunner.
So where's your Tail Gunner?
I don't have one, and I would love one of these days. I think
it's in the Nitro Pinball trailer.
Yeah, right. But I will give an honorable mention to Lunar Lander.
Lunar Lander, that's a controversial take.
And that's fair. That's fair. I'm a space nerd. I love any and all things human spaceflight. And I think that Lunar Lander is it's one of those games where it's kind of like Warp. It's like one of those games that like it's not very common, but it's still a lot of fun. There's something about it that just that ticks that
it's popular
addiction.
at our parties. I mean, we have one, and you wouldn't expect it to be popular because it's so slow, but people do play it.
Yeah, but you and Sam are literally former members of NASA. So like your parties are probably filled with members formerly or working in aerospace of some degree or form. So I can see that. But I just think like there's something about Lunar Lander as an honorable mention, because I think Tail Gunner is better. Lunar Lander is just fun. It's just
must have the thruster control.
Yeah, well,
I think that's one of those games that everyone has played in some capacity, maybe not in an actual arcade game, but somewhere like on a computer game or something like that. In some form, they've played a variant of that game, and they understand the concept just by looking at it.
So good. There was some old like x86 games, like back in the day when I was a kid, that was like a rip off of Lunar Lander, and just so good. But again, Tail Gunner's just better, and rip off is a rip off. Yeah.
So for me, it's really a hard decision because I'm looking at this list, and I really enjoy so many of these games, like Tempest, Black Widow, Major Havoc. One that hasn't been mentioned that I do really enjoy is TAC-SCAN.
I was just thinking about TAC-SCAN.
Yeah, I'd love to get a TAC-SCAN one day. And what's cool, I think, about vector games is it's very, very hard to reproduce without a vector monitor, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of these games might have had, ports on Atari or whatever, but unless they were on like the Vectrex, you weren't getting the real, experience. If you try to play in a MAME, it's okay to like check out the gameplay, but it's not the same as an actual vector monitor, right? That oscilloscope style, graphics in your face. For the least favorite game, and I'll put a little bit of a spin on this, controversial opinion, I know. If I was to walk into a room and every single one of these games was available, the last one that I would touch would be Star Wars.
Wow.
Okay. I am not a huge fan of on-rail shooters
before Star Wars
because I've never played an actual barrier, right? People put another way. Now that I have a Red Baron, that makes me appreciate Star Wars even less, right? The gameplay on Star Wars is so limited, right? Like you can't turn around, right? You can't turn around. Anyway.
It's Star Wars.
It's all flash, it's all pizzazz, and no substance, all sizzle, no steak.
Why would you turn around? I mean, you're headed towards like the Death Star. You have a goal.
You have a goal.
If you turn around, you're going away from it.
You have an opportunity to use the Force. Like, what is your deal?
Yep. I mean, I like Rogue Squadron. Rogue Squadron's better than Star Fox.
Well, Rogue Squadron is a good game, but that's very, very different.
You just lost your credibility for the next.
Oh no, here's another opinion. Return of the Jedi is the best Star Wars arcade game. Classic. I mean, Star Wars trilogy is pretty good, but all right. I'm going to.
You can't do a lightsaber fight in Return of the Jedi, so I get that.
I feel like I ate a lemon. Like,
So we'll move on, and I will.
Charlie,
I will
who
keep
hurt
the talking stick. Obi-Wan. I don't want to talk about it.
Wow.
Laserdisc
this is
games.
A family show.
And for Laserdisc games, I'll actually put the link into the live chat. So this is Dragon's Lair Project, which is Jeff Kinder. That's his website. My buddy and Overtime Arcade channel member. And Jeff Kinder's house is where Liam and I have played all the Sega Vectors. This is a list of all of the Laserdisc games. And I'm probably going to say, and I doubt this is very, no one's going to really barf on this one. I think the best Laserdisc game is probably Firefox, right? I'm looking at this list, like again, if I had all these games available to play, which one would I spend the most time with? Maybe Firefox. I've never played Star Rider, so maybe my opinion will change if Liam's able to successfully get that working. And in reverse, right? Like,
well, let's talk. Wait, before we go on in Laserdisc, you gotta make a distinction here in terms of what a Laserdisc game means.
Yeah,
and you
for
have
the uninitiated. Okay, go ahead.
You have to take a gap between the implementation of QuickTime event Laserdisc games that would be like Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, and the ones that try to be more interactive. That's like Firefox. I believe that those are sort of incomparable, fundamentally different application of the technology.
I'm not going to argue you there. I think you've got a valid point.
Like the ones that just use it as a animated background.
If you could remake the game and play it using a Blu-ray remote control for a Blu-ray player, that's a completely different thing than Firefox.
Well, I think wasn't the biggest issue though is that it really couldn't do random access, right?
Firefox could, and that's what it
like true random access
anywhere on that disc.
Well, really I mean, impressive. Firefox is the top, and for me,
he's not
the
wrong.
Absolute bottom.
Arcade Maze is also saying that he's not wrong. Yeah.
I played Cliffhanger, really didn't like it.
We should just.
Yeah, I'm probably. I'll say right now, I'm probably never going to own a Laserdisc game, but Let's go to Liam because he owns some.
Obviously, I've got two of them. I've got the Firefox and the Star Rider. I've never played Star Rider because it's not emulated properly, and the only time I've actually seen a machine, it was not working right. So hopefully, I can get mine working. But I would say for the ones that use a active background. Firefox is definitely my favorite. I love that game. I play it very frequently. It is so much fun, and it actually has a lot of replayability because you can choose different paths and different things to do with it. It's really good. I would think for that category, my least favorite would be Astron Belt. It's ridiculous playing that game. It feels like you're a dog at a window, like pawing at things you can't quite get to or access with random explosions everywhere. It does not feel like you're actually interacting with that machine at all when you're playing it. I did not like Astron Belt. And as far as the QuickTime event games go, I mean, I don't think you can beat Dragon's Lair in terms of just sheer quality and how well it was panned out. Plus, you had the Ultimate Edition of Dragon's Lair, and then you could put multiple versions of it on there. It's great. Dragon's Lair is fantastic.
Beautiful animation.
Beautiful animation. Don Bluth. Everything was great.
Don Bluth is a god among men.
And I would think for worst of QuickTime, Time Traveler. It's a controversial take. Time Traveler sucks. The technology is cool, is really cool, what they did with the holographic effect, but the game is not good, and it just sends you right back all the way to the beginning if you screw up in Time Traveler.
Yeah.
Speaking of gods among men, we got channel member Marquis Mark with a $2 million super chat donation, the second of the day for beer number 2. I'm getting low on beer number 1, but I need to do what Chance does, is have the bucket of cold ones. I corrected myself. He's got the bucket of cold ones under his desk. So thank you, Mark. This is for you, buddy.
Cold one now. There's
it's a Fanta.
And I'll give one more honorary shout out in terms of Laserdisc titles to Cube Quest. And there's a reason I'll give the shout out for it. Cube Quest used the Laserdisc in sort of a different way than the other titles did, in which it was a true background piece. The Laserdisc didn't have any bearing on the actual game, and they did that because they anticipated that there could be Laserdisc problems. The player could go down or something, and they wanted the game to still be playable without the Laserdisc player, something that none of the other Laserdisc games could do. If the player goes out, the game is down. but Cube Quest could still run without it, and it looked great when it had it. So
Firefox can technically run without the laserdisc player.
not really, no.
Yeah. No?
No, because all the enemy jets in Firefox are rendered on the disk.
Oh,
They're not rendered, and that's when you're asking about instantaneous frame switching. That's how Firefox does it. It has
Stand corrected.
It has all the jets flying around. Those are on one track, and if you shoot one, it jumps immediately to a parallel track, which shows that the jet is being destroyed. And it does that multiple times every second.
It has 2 layers of the laserdisc being projected.
It has like every other line, and it just uses the mirror to skip to another track to show the jets are being destroyed. They are rendered on the disc. Only the missiles and the radar are rendered on the actual game hardware. Everything else is.
You have a laserdisc background layer, a laserdisc object layer, and
sorry. It is everything: the jet, the background, all one layer on the disc. So one track, right? And so as you have a jet moving around, it's not one continuous track. It's actually tiny, less than a second clips of the jet moving through the screen, and it's stringing them together. So it's instantaneously skipping multiple times a second in order to produce the animation of the jet moving through the screen. And if you shoot it, it just goes to the next frame, which is the jet exploding.
That's really cool.
That's what I was going to ask. How do they handle getting rid of the object when you destroy it?
And then it skips to the next set of frames, which show that the jet is not there. It's like a really complex decision tree that Firefox has and is able to keep track of. And the player was designed specifically with this in mind. That's why it uses this really ridiculous, unique player, the VP931. It's the only one that can do that, as far as I'm aware. That's why like there's a laser ace that allows you to use other players, but it doesn't work well on Firefox because other laserdisc players can't keep up with the demands of the game.
Wild.
That's
Kay,
cool.
what about you? Laserdisc games.
My answers are going to be very easy because I've only played 2 laserdisc games ever, so it's pretty easy to rank a best and a worst. The worst would be Dragon's Lair because I played it and did not enjoy it.
Huh.
Also because I didn't play it until I was in my early 20s, so I did not have any nostalgia factor for it.
Aren't you still in your early 20s?
Yeah, I'm 37, but whatever.
Yeah.
I wish I knew where that Dragon's Lair was because the arcade I played it in had a lot of really rare stuff. And that arcade shut down within months of opening. And I wish I knew what they did with all that stuff because they had that and they had a paper boy. God, they had a lot of they had a Holosseum, which, you talked about Time Traveler. That's in the same cabinet.
Yeah, it's in the same cabinet.
It's an absolutely terrible game. Oh, God, it's horrible.
Terrible game.
Great cabinet. It looks beautiful to play, just the way it appears to be floating in midair. But that game is emulated on my cabinet, and you can play it without all the nice little effects. Man, that is not a good game. It's basically like a Tiger LCD handheld game, but just on a CRT.
On a $6,000 cabinet, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
you can move slightly to the left, slightly to the right. You can hop straight up. You can punch and kick. That's the entire moveset. It's pretty bad. The one that I thought was better than Dragon's Lair would be Last Bounty Hunter, which is just basically Mad Dog McCree, just the newer one. Just a shooting Western game, quick draw. I played a couple of those. I've seen it at a couple different locations.
Some risque screenshots in this thing.
There's a little bit of cleavage. You don't get to shoot her, but you do shoot some grungy looking dudes.
I mean this looks like some parody of Tombstone if I'm just looking at the cinematography.
You're not far off. But it's a neat game. It's got a holster, and there's a button inside the holster that whenever the gun is in the holster, it holds the button down, and it gives you the prompt to draw the gun and shoot. And if you draw it too early, it gives you an error, and you have to try again. So you actually have to draw whenever the game gives you the prompt to do so and shoot. And
or else.
Or you can just have like a stick and hold the button down and just hold the gun and wait for it to give you the prompt and then shoot anyway. But whatever. But that game's not bad. It's better than Dragon's Lair anyway. So those are my 2 laserdisc game experiences.
Sticking with the cowboy theme, any laser games up at the Stampede? Chance?
No, we're not bringing any laserdisc games. Fun fact though, Craig, our buddy Craig Learmont, one of the guys providing some of the arcade games, also has a Star Rider cabinet, and it is also missing its laserdisc player. Anyway, other than that, Star Rider, the only other laserdisc games, I had to write this down because I had to go through the list and write this down just to make sure. The only other laserdisc games that I have been to, like physically been in person with, Time Traveler, Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, and Firefox. I would have to say that just because of the Don Bluth effect, I think Dragon's Lair is awesome. I hate the gameplay. I think it's absolutely garbage. I can see why.
What gameplay?
Dragon's Lair. But I like
gameplay.
Exactly. I think just because it was Don Bluth artwork and like I'm a Land Before Time kid, I think that like it was just a good game. I would say Firefox gets my honorable mention, and Time Traveler is a piece of hot garbage. Let's leave it at that.
Right on.
Yeah.
This one will be a little bit interesting. How about conversion kits?
Ooh.
So again, these are games that were not available as a dedicated cabinet, only available as a conversion kit from the manufacturer, designed to take some existing game and convert it into something else. I know a lot of us in this hobby, we spend a lot of time deconverting games, turning them back into the original. But there are some conversion games out here. I'm going to make an executive decision and rule out Street Fighter 2 because that's by far the most successful and influential conversion game of all time, because Street Fighter 2 was never available technically as a real dedicated cabinet. They made some things after, but the original Street Fighter 2 was only available from Capcom initial run as a conversion kit. So Liam, how about you? Best and worst conversion kit only games.
Gosh. Well, worst one, the one that I don't like is Arkanoid. A lot of people like Arkanoid. I hate Arkanoid. I think it's like a worst breakout, honestly.
Is it just because it's so ubiquitous, or you actually legitimately hate the gameplay?
I actually hate the gameplay. It's like I hate the sounds. I hate the visuals. I don't get it. I do not like Arkanoid. As far as best conversion kits, I'm going to go with Cloak and Dagger. I think it was a really interesting kit that they supplied.
Does that count? Because isn't there a dedicated Cloak and Dagger?
They only had that as a prototype, so that's why I'm thinking counting that.
Okay. That's fair.
Cloak
and Dagger wasn't horrible, but
I just think it's technically interesting. It's good gameplay, and the way that they adapted the existing hardware in the Williams cabinets was like really well thought out.
Slap in the face to hey, let's make this game available so that it can
because it used the original Williams power solutions and audio amplifier soundboard, and was engineered so well to go into that cabinet non-destructively. Yeah,
shout out to any company who wasn't the original manufacturer of the cabinet when they made an upgrade, a drop-in game for a Nintendo cabinet, and you weren't Nintendo. That's a major slap in the face. That was a good call.
So that's why I picked that one. I think it was it's a good game that took really good advantage of the hardware that was available. I think it was well thought out and technically impressive, and is fun to play. So
yeah, Cloak and Dagger's fun. But
what are your choices, Chance?
I've got one of these, so I've got to say one of my favorite upgrade games in existence is a title called Rally Bike. There's just something about that game is just charming. It's like a top-down spy hunter kind of thing. And I've got the board set, you can convert it into the Japanese version. It's awesome. I think Rally Bike's a lot of fun. it's just got this weird like charm to it. It's not an easy game. I can see why it wasn't highly popular, but I think Rally Bike is just definitely one of them. And I'd say worst is Superman. I just like, I was so let down the first time I ever played it.
Terrible game.
Like, well, I'm a huge.
I hope you enjoy it, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jerry, but like I'm a big comic book nerd at heart. Like from years ago as a kid, like trying to anytime any new Marvel movie gets announced, my wife and I like have a quick conversation. She's like, "What does this mean? What does that mean? Why does he look like that? Like, why are you cringing about that?" Anyway, so like I'm an old school Marvel fan from when I was a kid. Like actually, fun fact, look at this. Spider-Man at the Calgary Stampede, Chaos in Calgary from Marvel Comics. Anyway, yeah, tie-in. But Superman, like DC Comics, like why did you give that up? Like, what a piece of garbage. And we see them around here all the time.
It should have been a 4-player cabinet similar to X-Men.
Yep.
With like Wonder Woman, Batman, and Aquaman or something, or Green Lantern.
Green Lantern. Come on. But like you're absolutely right. It could have been so much better, and at best it's a really bad version of Sly Spy.
Yeah.
Hot take.
Sly Spy's bad too.
I don't mind Sly Spy. That was one of the first that was the first actual arcade PCB I ever got.
Sly Spy.
Well, okay, so I bought
another one.
What?
You want another one?
No, God no.
Oh.
I
sold it for it.
No, God no. I'll send
it to you. I'll send you the whole thing, whole cabinet, Fastenal.
No, God no. The tariff I would have to pay on that because it's a coin drop. Are you kidding me? Anyway,
I'll rip the coin door off.
No, that's not gonna happen. So I like literally one of the first the first I built myself cabinets ever in the hobby was like 12 years ago. It was a knockoff, a Chinese version of Star Castle from Huawei or something. It's this cocktail that I have. And somebody had converted it, pulled the vector monitor out, put a little 13-inch G07 in it, and put a Sly Spy board in it. I paid $400 Canadian for the thing at the time. I thought that was a good deal. Drove like 4 hours round trip for it. It's still sitting in my basement. I use it as my JAMA test cabinet. But Sly Spy was not good.
No, it's still not good.
It's better than Superman. But
okay, what do you think? Best and worst conversion kits?
Well, it's not well known, but there is a game called Disney's Magical Tetris. And it's a very unique version of Tetris that you play competitively against another person, either the computer or another actual person. And as you do well, you send pieces over to the other side. And you send some really jacked up pieces that are not normal Tetris pieces, not normal Tetraminos. And they have some really odd shapes, and some of them are huge. And if you can get those pieces stacked correctly and actually clear lines with them, you can actually clear 5 lines at a time. So instead of a Tetris, you can get a Pinterest. And it's a really fun version of Tetris, and it's very unique.
Did you say a Pinterest?
Yeah, you can get a Pinterest instead of a Tetris because you clear 5 lines instead of 4.
Not Pinterest.
No, not Pinterest, a Pinterest. So that's a very unique version of Tetris. We had it at the first arcade I ever worked at. We had some very competitive one-on-one.
I've never.
We had
things.
We had very competitive one-on-one fights on that game. I think they put it on the Nintendo 64 as well. They made a home console version of it, but it's just a JAMA board, and so you can throw it in pretty much any cabinet you want. But it was a conversion-only game. They didn't have a dedicated cabinet for it, so at one point when I've got the space, I do intend to build one for myself and just have it in the home because it's a pretty unique and fun version of Tetris that very few people have really played. For worst, I'm going to think a little bit outside of the box, and I'm going to consider multicade boards as conversion kits. And by far the worst multicade board is the 750-1 Game Elf.
Yep. Hot garbage.
Just the 621-1 wasn't that bad. I used to build multicades out of that before Pandora's Box was really taken off. And then they stopped doing the 620-1 and started doing the 750, and just everything about it was so much worse.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much lag with the inputs. It's a lot of games are just absolutely unplayable. I don't know if it's just a hardware thing or a software thing or what, but it's terrible. I stopped using that board outright just because of just the quality dropped so poor, and you couldn't get the 621s in one anymore. So I stopped using that, and that's when I moved over to the Pandora's Box, and I still use those for my multicade builds. You can say whatever you want about multicades and the quality of emulation and all that, but multicades are my best sellers. So, I've used a lot of them, and I can tell you the difference in quality between them. And those Game Elves are the worst ones possible. So those, if you're talking about the lowest quality, that's the bottom of the barrel right there.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Let's see. For me, I'll say the best. My favorite is Top Gunner. Not to be confused with the unreleased Exidy vector game Top Gunner. Top Gunner, the Konami 2-player, almost like Commando, except you're in a Jeep driving around shooting folks. And really, the reason I love that game so much is it's one of my favorite NES games. It was called Jackal on the NES, and Top Gunner was the original arcade version. And I like that so much that my vertical JAMA cabinet is, I haven't applied it yet, but I have all the artwork to make it a Top Gunner as the permanent artwork for that. My honorable mention for best conversion kit is any rotary joystick game. And the reason is, and this is like Akari Warriors, this is like Time Soldiers, this is like Caliber 50, right? The ones with the rotary SNK rotary. The reason I love those so much is I've done this.
East ones.
Yeah, I've done this 3 times now. I buy a game that I wanted that's been converted to one of those games, and then I sell the joysticks and the PCB, and that pays for the entire project. That pays for the purchase of the converted cabinet and all the parts and artwork and anything I need to return that game back to what it was.
And the worst part is removing that joystick.
Yeah.
Well, I figured it out. Like, it takes forever, and I use, like, I should probably buy or make the tool. I use the bent Q-tips to do it, but it is it's very frustrating.
I use 2 hook and scribes.
Yeah. So I did that with
Sawzall.
I did that with my Pango. The Pango had been converted to a Time Soldiers. I did that with the Frogger. The Frogger had been converted to a Caliber 50. And I did that with my Sidam Bosconian that had been converted to an Akari 3. All 3 times, I just sell them for what the going rate, right? I just figure, I look at the last 3 or however many have sold on Clav. I said, boom, that's my price. It sells immediately and pays for the entire project. I love it. And then worst conversion kit, I don't think this will be particularly controversial, 8-ball action. So 8-ball action is responsible for ruining lots of Donkey Kong cabinets and other Nintendo cabinets.
Yeah.
And it's just like a generic pool game. So imagine it is, right?
That actually makes me think I want to change my answer. Worst conversion kit, Golden Tee.
Oh, yeah. I'll change my
answer.
Golden Tee's really bad.
But at least there are people out there that like Golden Tee. I'm not saying I do. But there are no 8-ball action fans out there. So anyway, we're going to call a bit of an audible here, thanks to a $2 million Canadian super chat donation from channel member Papa Sean 69. He asks, I'd be interested in best and worst Centauri games. So in the channel or the show notes, I added a link to all the Centauri games out there. So let's take a minute and think about this, because now Jeff Kinder owns all of the Centauri games.
I've only played like a quarter of these,
and these are limited to the ones that were real. Well, like, this is not even a complete list, because the Clav database is inconsistent with whether it determines like manufacturer, like licensor versus releasing the game. So like people will often think of, Centauri games like Track and Field
Yeah.
or Charlie or Circus Charlie.
Circus
Those
Charlie.
aren't listed here. This is just like the like Vanguard and Time Pilot. So I think of those, for me, looking at this list, I do like Time Pilot.
Yeah.
Even though I'm selling my Vanguard, I do like Vanguard.
Vanguard's decent. Phoenix
Challenger's a bit rough. Phoenix and Eagle, I can get behind. Challenger's cool. I don't know. What do you guys think about these? I don't really like Munchmobile, to be honest.
I guess the only one that I have in my collection is Track and Field.
That's technically a Konami game.
I know, but it's both. Like the art has both logos on it.
I do not own any Centauri titles. I've never owned any Centauri titles.
Hey, do you want to buy? You want to fix that?
No.
Okay.
There's only one that I really want, and it's one that I'll probably never get. But the one that I don't like is The Pit. I think The Pit is a terrible game. I played it. It's not good. It's, there's a whole craze about digging games, and when Dig Dug came out and Mr. Do came out, and then they did The Pit, and it's
garbage.
It's hot garbage that belongs in the darkest pit of hell.
Tunnel Hunt's okay, but
Tunnel Hunt's an Atari game.
If we're expanding this, like Swimmer is awesome, Gyrus is great, and but these are like.
Gyrus is overrated.
But I do like Gyrus. Music on Gyrus is awesome. And here's another one, Guzzler. Guzzler is a great game, guys. Guzzler.
Never played it.
But
are you familiar with it?
No.
So Guzzler is a little bit like a Pac-Man clone, except you are
probably don't like it.
Like water, right? You are anthropomorphic water, and you have to go around sucking up more water so that you don't run out of water. And
how high were they when they thought of that?
And then the instead of monsters or ghosts, there's flames. So you're trying to put out the flames by like extinguishing it with yourself. Anyway, Liam and I have played it, right? You played it at Troy's place, right, Liam?
Yeah, I don't.
You didn't like it?
Again,
I want to get
there's only one Centauri developed game that I like and want, and that's Aztec. And there's like zero chance that I'll ever get one. But I
mean, you got an Inferno, you got a Star Rider cockpit.
Yeah, you're pretty much like in the pathway of getting one.
Is a really interesting game, and I think that from a technical perspective and a gameplay perspective, it's actually quite good. Like there was a lot that went into how it was designed and how it was put together, and the technology that ran it was really cool. And the flexibility and control that the game offered you with the unique optical joystick was really interesting, and just a work of art of a machine in terms of gameplay and just the cabinet itself. That is in my opinion, the best Centauri game and the least represented Centauri game, besides I think D-Day, which bombed even harder than Asterak did. But that is my top tier Centauri game. I would do a lot of things for one.
What do you think about Centauri games, Kay?
So I'm looking through the list, and I've only played a few of them, and most of the ones I'm looking at, I do like. I am a big fan of Track and Field. I've had some pretty competitive Track and Field games back in the day. Yeah, I'm okay with Time Pilot. I do like Phoenix, Vanguard, Gyrus, Circus Charlie. I like all those games just fine. I guess if I had to pick a worst, it would be Pleiades. I like Phoenix. Not a real big fan. That game
is so bad they spelled it wrong on the track
on the
screen.
marquee. Yeah,
on the track screen is spelled wrong.
Yeah, I don't like that game either.
If I had to pick a worst, it would be that one.
Yeah. All right. We got another one added in here. I'm not sure by whom, but gun games. So games where you point a device at the screen, it's either a like light gun, like Duck Hunt works, or like an absolute position, like pot, like I think Operation Wolf and like T2, Terminator 2 used that way. So who wants to go first with gun games?
I'll
go ahead, Chance. Yeah.
Yeah, Terminator 2 is the worst pinball machine and the worst gun game on the planet. I think Terminator 2 is overpriced and garbage. That is a hot take.
I'll second that.
I love that movie.
This is never going to work with James Cameron now.
No, I loved that. Well, no, he would never come to Alberta anyway. I loved that movie. It's probably one of my favorite movies of all time is Terminator 2, but I think those games sucked. I just didn't like it. And I think that anytime, and maybe there's a little personal bias here because anytime a Terminator 2 comes up for sale in our area, it's like I know what I have territory. It's like, oh, I want $2,500 for like a $600 game. Like, come on. Nice. And then I would say, honestly, I was going to say Time Crisis is one of my favorites, or like an honorable mention, because I have some like fond memories of that. But I would say like, I got to go with the OG Duck Hunt, because OG Duck Hunt is amazing, with an honorable mention to Wild Gunman.
Okay, how about you?
So worst game, either Terminator 2 or Revolution X. One of those two. I don't like fixed gun games anyway, but both those games are just hot garbage. I mean, they're designed for you to fail. Like, those are games that, no matter how good you are, you're just going to get hit. You can't possibly be fast enough to do what you need to do, and they're just not fun. Like the graphics, like, they weren't good at the time, but they certainly haven't aged well anyway. Aerosmith isn't fun to listen to in that bad quality music anyway.
Wow.
Music is a weapon.
Wow.
It's telling you something.
Ugh. For favorites, I have a hard time picking one. It's really kind of a three-way tie. Time Crisis 2 is one of my personal favorites. I like the series, but 2 is definitely my favorite.
Agreed.
2 is one of the games, one of the few games that I've one credit cleared.
Really?
Yes, and
cool.
that's before I ever owned it. I actually one credit cleared it in the arcade. If you one credit clear it and you get a high score, it puts a little star next to your initials.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
A very long time ago, whenever Namco arcades were still a thing, they actually had a nationwide contest on Time Crisis 2. It was a high score contest where you paid like $5 or some X amount of money, and you would play through the entire game. Didn't matter how many continues it took, but you played through the entire game, and you would submit your score at the end. And you were competing your score against like the entire nation. Like, they would record your score at the very end of the game, and like you're just competing for whatever prize, whatever. I obviously didn't win, but I did put up a score, but I ended up one credit clearing it and putting my name up, and it puts a little star next to your name. So I thought that was pretty cool. House of the Dead is also one of my favorites. I like the first one. The second one's also very good, but I've played the first one the most. I have the most nostalgia for that one. We had
The
both
second
of
one-
those.
The second one being Typing of the Dead.
No, Typing of the Dead's fun, but I think Typing of the Dead is based on the second one.
See, now
House of the Dead 2 with Typing of the Dead. But
now that we're talking about railgun games, it's like, it makes me feel like I should give an honorable mention to Lost World. Jurassic Park is like a solid game.
it is pretty good.
Yeah.
What do
With the
you
Jeep.
think, Liam?
What is it? I have a three-way tie. I haven't seen
Oh,
Uh-oh,
yeah. Sorry.
the third one would be Virtual Cop.
Virtual Cop solid. Not great. It's good.
Virtual Cop is one of the games that you can memorize and get through. I made it a goal to try to get through the game with 100% accuracy. I got very close. I think I got through the entire game with like 98.9% accuracy just from knowing where everyone was. Virtual Cop is one of the games that I bought for myself for my own collection and had just for a little while. Time Crisis 2 is another one I bought for myself. And House of the Dead is one that I have in the shop, and once I get it fixed up and running, I'm probably going to keep for a little while. Technically, I have two of them, but I really enjoy all those games.
Cheyenne's good too.
Well, I was going to get to that.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead,
sorry.
Liam.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I've got two that I like and two that I don't like, and for
Okay.
different reasons. So my favorite is Turkey Shoot.
Mm.
I like that game a lot.
Oh yeah, with the feathers and
with the feathers and the interesting theme and the sound effects. I really want a Turkey Shoot.
Are you gonna get a Williams Turkey Shoot because you're a rare Williams collector now?
No, I genuinely like the game. I played it at Galloping
Oh.
Ghost, and I played it a whole bunch of times. It's really fun.
Okay, where are you gonna get reproduction turkey feathers from?
Hold on. Time out. Because we know there are people here who are probably watching or listening to this. Just describe how cool the gimmick on Turkey Shoot is.
So in Turkey Shoot, when you clear a level, it actually has 2 panes of glass, and inside are real feathers. And it has a fan, and when you clear the level, it'll blow the feathers all over the screen.
Yeah.
Like you just eliminated all the turkeys. Here's all your turkey feathers. It is so freaking funny when it does it.
One of the gnarliest games that didn't really make it. Like
they made a few of them, but it was clearly a rushed game, and they made some interesting design decisions with the cabinet. But I love Turkey Shoot. I really want one, and at some point I think I will find one. I don't know when, but I think that one will find its way into our collection. It is a really good game, and I want one. My second favorite is Duck Hunt. You're talking about classics. I do like Duck Hunt. I would like to have a Duck Hunt on Play Choice 10. I don't think I want a VS Duck. I want the Play Choice 10 version.
You don't want to be able to shoot the dog?
No, it's so good. Like, yeah.
And I do want a Turkey Shoot. So that would be really, really cool. The ones I don't like, there are two I don't like for different reasons. I'll go with the one that is the easy reason. I hate Police Trainer, and that's because it gets a whole bunch of lazy conversions with giant holes cut in the front of cabinets.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't like Police Trainer for that reason. It is a terrible game that just turns good cabinets into actual trash.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple cabinets with enormous holes in it because of Police Trainer.
A lot of sins were committed because of Police Trainer.
Police Trainer, yeah. And the other one I don't like, speaking of sins being committed, is Chiller. And some people like Chiller. I don't like Chiller. And
why?
Let me give you context, all right? I like horror games. I love monster games. I like spooky games. I want to like Chiller. But I can't bring myself to actually like that game because it's just shock value. There's no actual game there. It's exclusively shock value and just look at us. We did something bad. Let's get in the media. No, they really took the idea of no bad press is, all bad press is good press, and they took that and ran with it as far as they could go. Chiller is not a good game. It's a vile game. And it is, I cannot bring myself to like Chiller.
Not even a so bad it's good type of experience.
Yeah. No, it's a game that you just get this weird feeling of like, this is disgusting as you play it. And it's not even like, wow, they did such a good job. It's so scary. It's just bad.
So it's like Night Trap, but with a gun.
Yeah, it's not good. And despite loving Halloween, we want to do our big Halloween parties and have spooky Halloween games. I don't think I could ever have a Chiller.
Can I ask you, if you hate Chiller so much, where does Cheyenne fall on that list? Because
Cheyenne's better than Chiller. I like the other Exidy shooter games. I just can't do Chiller.
Yeah. Okay.
So my best are going to be very similar to Liam. So Duck Hunt and Turkey Shoot. My worst will stick with the Play Choice 10. I am not a fan of Hogan's Alley.
Oh, wow.
Not a fan of Hogan's Alley. But now that you mention it, Versus Gumshoe is pretty bad as well.
Oh, come on. Gumshoe's got its charms.
It's creative for about 3 minutes.
Is that why you turned your camera off for a minute so you could go get that marquee?
I did, yeah. It was on top of the Play Choice 10.
I thought you were.
And look how terrible this marquee is, by the way.
Don't be a hater. That's noir, man.
What 9-year-old sees this like, I want to play that game?
That's
some
noir.
dude in a trench. some dude in a trench coat looking to see who am I going to expose myself to walking down the street.
Oh, come on.
Get
That's
outta
noir.
here.
That
That's
is a pretty
noir.
terrible marquee. You gotta give it that.
No.
You got to be
This
way up
color?
on it to even tell what it is.
Like, what 9-year-old is even able to read that text on the right? Like, it's way up there. It's tiny.
It says how to play.
Y'all
Shoot
are-
at Mr. Stevenson.
Y'all are
Shoot
haters.
at Mr. Stevenson and make him jump. Protect him by
Make him
shooting all his
jump.
enemies.
Y'all are haters.
Help Mr. Stevenson collect the 5 Black Panther
Wait,
diamonds.
wait. You're
I'm
shooting
pressing-
at him, and that helps him.
I'm pressing the doubt button right now.
Yeah, press X to doubt. So yeah, versus Gumshoe. We're gonna call another audible here. We have a $2 million super chat donation from DJM21. He wants, or I'm assuming DJM wants us to cover the best and worst space themed game. Now, what's interesting about this though is that you're basically saying what are the best and worst arcade games, but you're saying you can only cover half of the arcade games out there.
Yeah.
Because roughly half of all arcade video games
Are
had some
space
sort
themed.
of space theme. So we'll hear from the space enthusiast in a minute. We'll start with the space professional, Liam. What are the best and worst
I'm not a space enthusiast.
He's
No, I'm
an
the enthusiast. You're the professional.
You're the professional. So, Liam, what are the best and worst space themed arcade games?
Actually, you know what? I want you to come back to me on this one. I need to think about this.
All right, we'll go to the enthusiast first.
Zaxxon and
As the
Zaxxon.
best.
Zaxxon and Zaxxon. No, like I don't know. That's a tough. It's like I've got a soft spot for Space Duel because it's one of my favorite games of all time. I've got an upright, a really nice Space Duel upright. I think there's something really cool about like a 2-player game where you're tethered to each other and it's like a really solid sequel to a really solid game. So I would think Space Duel is probably one of the I would say one of the best space themed games. And then as much as we like to pick on Zaxxon, I can't really say Zaxxon's horrible, even though I'm absolutely bad at it. Oh man, I don't know. There's so many crap space games out there. I don't know.
What about UK?
So for worst, I'm gonna go with Space Panic. Don't care for it.
Oh, I got mine.
Nope, sorry, you already had your turn.
Okay.
Space Panic.
Josh had to remind me what it was.
Not to be confused with Gal's Panic. Those are two unrelated.
No,
series.
that would be my best if it was.
Gal's Panic is a horribly good game.
Yeah, I understand how Space Panic works. I don't enjoy it. Worst game on
Yeah.
the 60 and one,
Not
other
good.
than Zaxxon.
Not good.
But Zaxxon's the easy answer.
So I'm gonna one up you though. Super Zaxxon is worse than Zaxxon.
That's fair.
Super Zaxxon is harder.
This is
Zaxxon is bad
super
enough,
worse.
hard enough. Super
Zaxxon
worse.
was a great idea, but it was just like
Nah.
if you don't
And
read
then-
the instruction card, it's the worst game on the planet.
And if you
For-
read it, then it's still really bad.
For best space themed game, I'm gonna limit myself to games that are in my room in the lineup here, and say Bosconian is the best space themed game in my basement right now.
So
I
like a
didn't say
19.
best yet, but I'd have to say you can just keep it simple. It's Galaga or Galaxian.
Galaga is one of the worst games ever made.
Then it's
We already
Galaxian.
know you have bad takes when it comes to those games.
No, but it's like there's something about the ubiquity of people. Oh, you're into arcades? Do you have a Galaga? It's like
Because it's popular. Because it was good.
So
again, just because it's popular doesn't make it right. Like I have a
So-
Galaga. I have it on location because it makes me money. It's the same with the Ms. Pac-Man, but it's just not fun. Like
Chance's worst nightmare is being stranded on a deserted island with a
with
class
Ms.
of
Pac-Man
81.
and Galaga. Yeah,
no,
yeah,
class of
yeah.
81. Yeah.
Reunion cab. Yeah. No, but like I'm not okay. Like I was born in 1984. I get it. I just don't find Galaga fun. Like I don't. Again, we've been over this with me and Ms. Pac-Man. Like I got a Ms. Pac-Man. I made some hot takes about Ms. Pac-Man. I can level with everybody, and I can see why Ms. Pac-Man is an enjoyable game. But when it comes to Galaga, it's like, it's just not fun. All the Nintendo clones of Galaga, Space Launcher as an example, so good. But it's not that much better, but it's good because it's a Nintendo clone of it. But Galaga is just like, what's the point? It's like,
I thought for a second that Liam was preparing to like pretend to kick the screen, like getting up so he could put his boot into the camera.
But it's so bland.
I'm not going to defend Galaga that hard. There are better space games.
100%. Galaga is just so bland.
So hang on, we're gonna pause here for a minute. Before we get to our Space Pro, we're going to acknowledge ENKO with the $4.99 million super chat donation.
Which she just texted me. She forgot to put a message in with that. She was going to ask about best and worst fighting games.
Fighting games. All right, we will do fighting games in a moment. But first, John, a.k.a. Kawaru5, advancing the goal. He is, why didn't that one populate? So that should have given us progress towards our goal, which is to permanently mute Chance's mic. Kawaru with a $50 billion super chat donation John says, first off, don't be mad. Why would we be mad?
Why would that be?
Second, best 2 or more player co-op games. So we'll do that. We'll do fighting and then co-op. And then we also had a $2 million super chat from Random Billy Bob. Wants us to rank arcade YouTubers. That could get a little bit controversial. So we'll get all 3 of these. So we'll do fighting games, 2 or more player co-op, and then arcade YouTubers. So fighting games. I'm going to kick it to Kate to start that
space games.
Oh, sorry, Space Pro.
Yeah. I'm going to go with, there's just so many good space games that are good in different ways. I'm going to go with Sinistar as my favorite.
Ooh.
I love Sinistar. It's really fun. And it bridges the gap for me between like the whole sci-fi horror and space game field. Sinistar is really fun.
Yeah.
And I think it wins. And because I already
that
used
documentary
earlier, and the documentary was really good. I would say Major Havoc also, but I've said it earlier for my favorite vector game, so I'll go with Sinistar this time around. As for worst game, I mean, Zaxxon is an obvious choice. I hate Zaxxon, but that's just like worst game general, not just worst space game. So instead, I will go with Gorf. I don't like Gorf.
Yeah.
Gorf sucks. It's a combination of 4 different games, and all the original games are better than Gorf.
Yeah.
So I would rather play any of those other games than Gorf. And the hardware sucks. The game sucks. I'll just say that I don't want to deal with Gorf at all.
Gorf, like, to me, makes me think of, like, if they had to make up a game for, like, a TV show or movie because they didn't have the rights to anything.
Yeah, exactly.
They would choose Gorf.
They would, like, mock up something that looked like a
Did you know that there was going to be Mrs. Gorf? They were doing a sequel to the game.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, 1, that's wow. And 2, I never thought about that. Like as a nondescript game for a movie or a TV show, Gorf. You're right, actually. We've got a buddy of ours who loves Gorf. And he's not wrong. It's his thing, right? If you love it,
there's no accounting for taste.
There's no accounting for taste. But like I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. I don't mind it, but it's like, okay. Yeah. That's fair.
Those are good answers, Liam.
And Sam sent me a message also saying that she hates Space Invaders.
Space Invaders used to suck in my books too, but I mean, it's kind of grown on me.
No, I get that. I understand its place in history, but don't care for it. I also can't sell it. No one cares for it. When I get one and have it for sale, no one wants it.
You would think
no, it's impossible to sell Space Invaders.
I don't understand that because you would think that Space Invaders would be right up there with like your Pac-Mans and your Galaga.
Absolutely not. I can sell a Galaga for $1,600. I can't sell a Space Invaders for $400.
Because all of the people that have nostalgia for Space Invaders have all retired and moved to Florida.
That's fair.
So they're not.
Imagine all the people who had nostalgia for Space Invaders later ended up playing Galaga.
Okay, so, but I have to give Space, like, there's something about that floating in midair screen effect on a Space Invaders Deluxe that like I think out of all of the maybe Boot Hill. Boot Hill's also another one of those floating in screen effect games that just looks really, really good. So it would be nice to have it in the collection because of that, like Bronze Age kind of
thing. We have one, but yeah, no, it's not played very often.
Huh. Interesting. What were we on? Fighting games?
Yeah, but Kay's gonna go first.
Okay.
All right, so I'll start with the worst. There are a lot of terrible fighting games, and I could
Agreed.
go through the bottom of the barrel and pick up a lot of obscure ones because I've gone through my my multicade, played a lot of terrible games just to see how bad they are. One of the worst ones I've ever found is called Blandia, and it's a more apt name for a game I've never found because it's the most bland game that you could possibly think of. Mace the Dark Age is really bad. But if you want to go for something that was popular and people do ask me for, that I think is just an absolutely terrible fighting game, I got to say Primal Rage. I don't get the appeal. I understand it's dinosaurs fighting, but if you actually play that game, it's bad.
Terrible controls.
It's just a really bad game. Yeah, it's terrible controls, doing all the moves and everything like that. It's just not fun. Marky
like
Mark
they did it
just in the. Go ahead.
They did it to like be backwards of normal fighting games, which is
you hold the button down and then do the movements
Yeah.
and then let go. Yeah, they just wanted to be different. And different is not always good.
Instead of like quarter circle high kick, it's like hold a bunch of buttons down and then do a joystick manipulation. But like graphics are great, the idea was great. They could still be violent. While I think they also wanted to make it like less abhorrent to like parents, right? Because like Mortal Kombat is obviously people, or at least
fighting,
people, right? Yeah. These are dinosaurs killing each other, which we're 65 million years removed from having to worry about that. So,
if you believed in them,
there you go.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, birds aren't real either. Anyway, Marky Mark just said in the comments that Time Killer sucks, and he's correct. It's not a great game, but it does have its charm. I had a Time Killers in my showroom just up until recently. I just sold it like last week. That whenever I went into the showroom, I would stop and play a game every once in a while because it does have its charm. It's a terrible game. Don't get me wrong.
There's something that keeps bringing you back to that game.
There is a little bit of nostalgia in there.
It's the tick.
I did play it as a game. But I did play it as a kid, but it's not a great game. But there is something about just yelling Excalibur and chopping off a guy's head. That, it's got its charm. For best games, I have so many honorable mentions because I do love fighting games. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike is amazing. Rival Schools, Tekken Tag Tournament, Mark of the Wolves. But if I had to pick one game to be my absolute favorite for fighting games, I would go with Soul Calibur 2.
Not Soul Edge, Soul Calibur 2 specifically?
Yes, Soul Calibur 2 specifically. Soul Edge, not so much.
Is that the one with
Soul
Link?
Calibur 2. If you're playing the GameCube version, yes, but I'm talking about the arcade version.
There you go. And speaking of Marky Mark, want to acknowledge him with his third super chat of the live stream. This one for $3 million for the beer number 3. So, Chance, finish off that last one.
Like beer, or the last topic?
No, the beer. You got to drink. Go drink
it. I'm pacing myself.
Hurry up.
All
right. What are your fighting?
Podcast is almost over. No time for pacing.
I would say probably my least favorite fighting game is Primal Rage. I would 1000% agree because big dinosaur fan in this.
Crying right now.
We're a big dinosaur household here. My wife loves Jurassic Park.
Big space, big dinosaurs.
Oh, dude, I got an 11.
Cowboys,
you know those little balsa wood models.
4.
You know those little balsa wood models you can get of dinosaurs. I have an 11-foot long Allosaurus skeleton sitting downstairs in my living room.
You know what's funny? When you're a grown up who doesn't have kids,
it's great.
End up living like a kid.
I know. We were just talking about this, about a future trip we have planned next year.
Now, favorite.
So I would say Primal Rage, like not a fan at all. I remember when that game was announced and was like coming out, and I was like so excited for it. But I was like, I played it. Was it on the N64?
It was on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. I don't know.
Yeah.
before.
I just like hot garbage. I was like, this sucks. So anyway, yeah, I'd say Primal Rage. I would agree with you there. And I would say out of all the fighting games ever, like, are we just specifically, because like I know they never made River City Ransom in an arcade. River City Ransom.
Well, that's more of a beat 'em
That's a
up.
beat 'em
That's
up.
more of a beat 'em up. Like same with Double Dragon, I guess.
I'm assuming we're talking 1v1 fighter.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
That's tough. I mean, I really do like Mortal Kombat 3, just because like all of the cyborgs are cool to me. Like Cyrax Smoke, like I mentioned before in the chat. Like I just think I like Mortal Kombat 3. And I know the argument Mortal Kombat 2 versus Mortal Kombat 3. There's something about having those extra characters. It's just so cool to me. Honorable mention. I think some of the CPS2 games are really good. Like Marvel Superheroes is just so much fun. Marvel vs. Capcom's okay, but I think Marvel Superheroes is a solid game.
Yeah, I think that series is better early on.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big Street Fighter person, even though I have like 3 or 4 of them. They're all on location. But I personally like, it's funny because like all the games that I don't really like, I still own because I put them on location because they're
good earners.
They're good earners. Yeah. I'm not a big Street Fighter fan. Although Street Fighter, I would say Championship Edition, the Rainbow ROMs are solid. I actually really enjoy that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I would say that's tough. Yeah, I'm not a big Street Fighter person. And King of Fighters is garbage. I know I'm going to get some slack for that, but I think King of Fighters is absolute hot garbage.
No slack, no judgment for me here.
I mean, that is where my nickname comes from, but whatever.
Let's hear your list, Liam.
Basically I'm happy to dumpster pretty much all fighting games. I don't like the genre at all. Of the pack, Holosseum sucks hard, as we've already talked about.
Yeah, no, maybe I can change my answer there.
Yeah.
Holosseum is the worst of the worst. It is so bad as a fighting game.
I don't know if you can really consider that a fighting game. Man.
I mean, that's what it's supposed to be, but it's a JAMA fighting game.
Like I said, that's a Tiger LCD game, is what that is.
It's really bad. A lot of the other ones that are just bad. I have respect for Street Fighter 2 particularly, and I own a Mortal Kombat 2. It was my first game, so I'm going to have to go with that, even though I've owned that thing for 15 years, and I've never managed to get past level 2, so I don't like it that much, but it stays around because people occasionally like to play Mortal Kombat. But no.
When you say level 2, do you mean the second time up the mountain or the second opponent?
The second opponent.
The second round of the first fight.
Oh,
man. I don't like fighting games. I'm so bad at them, and I just don't. Yeah, no desire.
Well,
zero.
Can I interject with a quick honorable mention to like worst game? Punch Out. Papa Sean just said in the chat, Punch Out is good.
Punch Out is garbage.
Punch Out is garbage. I don't care.
What's wrong with y'all? Punch Out's good.
It's literally running right now.
Punch Out is like the worst intuitive fighting game on the like a one-player fighting game.
I keep giving it
sure.
Every now and then I'm like,
it's not a fighting game. It's a rhythm game.
I want to play it.
A rhythm game, sure, but like DDR is a bad game too. Punch Out's garbage.
All right, before Kay reaches through the internet and punches out Chance, I'm gonna say for me, I like all of the 2D Mortal Kombats. Right, so like this, right? I do agree with Liam that fighting games are not my favorite genre by any stretch. And the worst would probably be any super what's the right word for this game where it is very beginner unfriendly and it's like a fighting game design. It's like, so pick, some series
Samurai
that
Showdown
is like on number 7
King of
or
Fighters.
like Tekken 9 or King of Fighters, not like some game that if you just walk up, there is absolutely no way that you're going to land a single blow against a computer or an opponent, right? So anything where it's just so far down that line of there's like 12 people left in the world who can actually be competent at this because they've played every single one before, know every single thing, understand how the lore affects the strategy on, well, you can't punch that guy because of how, anyway. So that's my fighters. And now we'll move on to John's with his monster $50 trillion super chat donation. John wants to know the best 2 or more player co-op games. So why don't we start with Liam for this one? I'm assuming this means simultaneous and co-op, not competitive.
What about games that can be both?
Okay.
I would say Joust is up there as a really good co-op game and a competitive game because it can be either. And I like the aspect of the chaos in the game. Like you accidentally kill somebody and it's just, oh no, why'd you do that? You know, it's really fun. Sam and I play it all the time. Joust is a really good title. As for worst co-op game, I'm going to go with any 90s co-op conversion kit that just came out, like outside of maybe the Konami ones, but there's a lot of bad just 2-player games that I just couldn't care less about. A lot of the ones from the 80s I feel like were good, that deserve some recognition. Gauntlet was good. I love our 6-player X-Men, even though I don't play it very frequently. That's not 80s, but still very good game. And Inferno rocks. It's super fun to play with 2 people. But yeah, no, I just, all the 90s conversion kits, I guess this is like fighting games type deal, but like I just can't. Love Joust.
How about you, Kay? Co-op.
So for co-op, I'm going to consider beat 'em ups as co-op because, I mean, after all, you are cooperating towards a common goal. So
except at the end of, you know what happens at the end of Double Dragon.
Of Double Dragon where you have to fight each other. Yeah. So who's the better brother? So for beat 'em ups,
Jimmy or Bimmy?
My favorite of all time would be Final Fight. For one of another podcast that I listen to, we do high score challenges, and Final Fight was the one that I submitted and we did recently. And I chose that because Final Fight is a game that I used to play as a kid at the laundromat. And whenever you're poor, you have to go through as far as you can on 1 credit. So the challenge was to do as high of a score as you can on 1 credit. And I'm sad to say that I couldn't get as far as I was when I was 6, but I still got pretty far. I got about halfway through stage 3. But I still have a great love for Final Fight. And it continues on to the rest of the series too. I love Final Fight 2 and 3 on the Super Nintendo, and some of the other entries in the series. Final Fight Streetwise is hilariously bad if you've ever played that game, but Final Fight, just the original in the arcade, is just a fantastic game. And even though it's simple, it's just great.
What about Mighty Final Fight?
For the NES, I mean, it's for what it is, it's not bad either, but still can't touch the original. For worst, there's a lot of bad beat 'em ups, but the absolute worst would have to be DD Crew. If you've never played that, just the physics in that game are just they're terrible. Just the hit detection. Whenever you stun enemies, you get to some point where like your hits stop registering and they recover before you're able to keep hitting, like to keep hitting them. They start being able to hit you back. And so you have to stop hitting them, walk away, let them recover, and then walk back to them and hit them again.
What?
Your jump attacks are pretty much worthless because they can just knock you out of the air before you'll ever hit them, and your jump attacks don't knock anybody down. They don't even stun them. Just your entire moveset's almost completely worthless. I will say that like you have 4 characters that you can choose from, and 2 of them are hilarious because one of them looks like George Carlin, and another one looks like Billy Blanks. So your character choices do crack me up. But the intro video is pretty hilarious just because if you've never seen it, just look up the intro video. It's pretty funny. You're yelling at a pimp on the phone and it's like, you got a bomb in your park, and then a park blows up. just go watch it on YouTube if you've never seen it. But the music is bad, the gameplay is bad, the sprites are bad. It's just an all around bad game just because of the physics and hit detection. Play DD Crew. It's the worst beat 'em up I've ever experienced.
Good times. What do you think, Chance?
I have a hard time picking a worst because I haven't really like none of the really bad ones come to mind. I don't have any like really solid memories of like, hey, this game sucks when it comes to co-op games. I would say like honorable mentions, of course, go out to, you know, it's all the same game essentially, like your Sunset Riders, your Simpsons, your Turtles, your X-Men. They're all pretty much the same game. I really like Balloon Fight Joust. I think that's really good. But I think overall, I think my absolute favorite co-op game would be Bubble Bobble. I just think there's something about Bubble Bobble, right? Like I had the Game Boy cartridge when I was a kid. It's actually sitting in my original Bubble Bobble cartridge is sitting right there next to the Game Genie for my Game Boy. Solid
Cheater.
Game. Right. And then when I got to like play Bubble Bobble, I think it was like a laundromat or something when I was a kid. I just think it was so much fun. A good buddy of ours, actually, who's been on the Canadian Arcadic a number of times, our as Josh likes to call him, our touring guitarist, Cody. Cody's favorite game of all time was a Bubble Bobble, and I have this wicked memory of like him and I, like him just calling me up one day saying like, "Hey, we're going on a game pickup right now," and it was for a Joust cocktail with a Super Bubble Bobble board set in it, and it was just so much fun.
It's like the best 8-second song ever written.
Bubble Bobble is also the first arcade machine I ever owned.
The first game, what? Okay.
The first arcade machine I ever owned.
It's just really good. And like anything with the Bubble Bobble like IP afterwards, like Puzzle Bobble is such a good game.
Puzzle Bobble is infinitely superior to Bubble Bobble.
No. Those are two completely separate. One's a puzzle game and one's a two-player co-op.
They're very different.
Yeah.
But Super Puzzle Fighter. So for me, a lot of the ones we talked about, Joust I think is great. Balloon Fight. We didn't talk about Mario Brothers.
Mario Brothers is just like, it's in the pantheon of one of the greatest games of all time. So I think that's
awesome.
And
it's also fun because a little bit like Joust, but even more so, it is co-op.
Yeah.
But you can definitely screw over the other player.
You can start a fight with the guy next to you. Yeah.
You can't directly harm the other player, but you can put them into harm's way. You can steal their thunder, all kinds of stuff like that. Other great, another one oddball choice here, Atari Fire Truck. That's really fun. Co-op. If you've ever played, so the real Atari Fire Truck is a two-player simultaneous driving game. And you're sitting like, one guy is sitting down in front and one guy is standing up behind, and one guy is driving the front of the fire truck. This is like a ladder truck, right? And one guy is in the cherry picker, and he's driving the back of the truck, right? So if you've never played, it's a black and white Atari driving game, Atari Fire Truck. That's a lot of fun. And there's so many other great, co-op.
There's not a lot of Atari Fire Trucks out there in the wild, though. Although if you're talking about co-op arcade games, like, have you ever played a Lucky and Wild?
I have, yep.
That's a simultaneous driving and shooting game.
Yep.
Interesting.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for that super chat donation, John. And I think this is going to be our final category of the evening. This one comes from a $2 million super chat donation from Overtime Arcade channel member Random Billy Bob, who also has his own YouTube channel that you guys should all go and subscribe. What was the one he was working on? He's working on a Bubble Bobble right now. So that's really cool. Billy Bob wants to know, and Billy Bob also mentioned his favorite conversion kit earlier is Bomb Jack, which is also a fun game. So Billy Bob wants us, this one's getting a little spicy. Best and worst arcade YouTubers. And why don't we have Kay go first on this one? And maybe not just YouTuber, but content creator writ large. So if you're beefing with somebody on TikTok, now is the time to air that beef.
Why hate? Why can't we all just get along? Why can't we all just love each other's content for what it is?
The people want the drama. So
you're just trying to manufacture drama.
Tell us who you love. and then you're gonna stick it to him, Kay. So who are those two people for you?
Liam's not having any of this.
If we're talking about the ability to throw chance, I have to put myself up at the top because I did used to throw people for fun,
Yeah.
and I can still do it. I'm still pretty strong.
Give him the
I still know
bionic
how to do it.
elbow.
I mean, it's not a throw, but yeah, I absolutely can do that.
You got the tank top. You can give him the bionic elbow.
For best and worst YouTubers, I don't watch anyone's content but mine because that's the only way I can get hard. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, edit that out. Good night, everybody. I don't have an answer.
Charlie's face.
Someone else.
Well,
This whole like 2 minutes of the podcast is just going to be the censor beep sound. So if you're if you're just joining us after
I
that,
know who my least
phone
favorite is.
commercial.
all right. So
Wow.
Billy Bob has another $2 million super chat on. He wants it specifically based on how far they can throw chance. So
Do you want before we get into that, because none of you have actually physically met me in person, do you want to know how much I actually weigh?
Sure.
you have a typical arcade body.
I have no idea. No, I'm good. I run.
That Donkey
the
Kong Jr.
mailbox.
Orange is slimming.
It's yeah. I have no idea what I weigh.
All right. So tell us, Chance. We don't want to know how many stone or kilograms or whatever.
Oh, I don't know. Like
Put that
180.
aside. Put that aside.
I'm 6 foot
180
tall.
stone. I think that's a lot.
Yeah, I could throw you.
Yeah, you
Who do
probably
you
could.
love? Who do you hate?
Who do I love? Who do I hate? I This is tough. Like just YouTubers in general. I mean, our arcade YouTube content. I don't watch a lot of arcade YouTube. I don't know. I think like I'm gonna say like the guys that I'm working with here on the show. I mean, like I enjoy your content a lot more than a lot of content out there.
The safe answer.
No. I'm serious. Like I wouldn't have said yes to this if I didn't feel like I was in good company. Okay. Now, granted, arguably, TikTok is banned in this household. We don't have TikTok here. So until he was a YouTuber as well of TikTok, I didn't really watch any of Kay's stuff. But no, I don't watch just like everybody else can say, I don't watch every single video all the time. I just don't have time for it. I won't watch anything more than 25 minutes long most times unless I'm falling asleep to it. There's literally like if I'm gonna watch a YouTube video and it's over the hour mark, I just like no,
You
but I'll
watch a 2-hour video on
Oh no, man.
vector monitor.
YouTube content for me has to be it. There's two modes I get into. Okay, it's like it's late at night and I want to put something on that I might fall asleep to because I have to sleep to something playing on the TV.
Like
I just can't fall asleep without
Overtime arcade and chill. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. But like there's something about that would be horrifying. We've got like a 90-inch TV in our bedroom. Like because we have our house is like really long and really wide. So like a 90-inch TV is like a 60-inch TV for most people.
Is that just like saying I have a big house? It's long and it's wide.
Well, no, Anyway, long story. Anyway,
So is it tall too, Chance? Is it really tall?
It is. We have like
it's actually only 2 feet tall.
We have like 10-foot ceilings in the whole house. We have like the tallest house in the entire neighborhood. I've got to say, like, if I'm not in the mood to watch, like when I go to sit down, because I watch YouTube like it's regular television content more than not, right?
Who do you hate?
I don't hate anybody. I can't say that. Like I know John and I have had our beefs in the past, but like I don't hate John. I respect John for what he helped get me deeper into the hobby, right? Like there's nobody I hate. And I know that sounds like a really crappy answer, but like all jokes and all like funny chance aside, I don't ever want to start beef with anybody. It's like on previous episodes of this show, like I won't take the bait with drama because I don't want to play that.
Drama mama.
No.
Liam, who do you love? Who do you hate? Give the people what they want.
Jesus.
I thought this is about who could throw Chance the farthest. In which case,
I could see Liam throwing me about as far as Kay.
I don't know about as far as Kay, but I feel like Charlie could throw you pretty far too.
No, Charlie would try and pick me up and throw his back out. I mean, come on.
I'd put you on the torture rack.
Have youth on my side there.
Yeah. Charlie was around during the Great Depression as far as the rest of us are concerned.
I'm like...
He's not that much older than I am. Come on.
What year were you all born?
82.
97.
82, Charlie? Wow, being a parent has done you bad. Like, look at that.
What are you talking about?
Holy
So
I thought you were going to say like 71.
No. Are you kidding me? So I'm old enough. I'm old
getting
enough.
revenge for all of the jokes and super chat rips he's had on me lately.
I'm old enough that I can get away with calling myself not a millennial. Okay.
Yeah,
I can be a zennial. No. You are a millennial.
No.
Nope.
I do not agree with.
Nope. And Liam. So who do you love? Who do you hate, Liam?
Go with the channel I don't like is the guy who cut the Pac-Man in
Oh!
half.
What's inside?
There you go.
Yeah. What's inside? Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna take Liam's side on this.
Good.
I'm changing
That
that
guy.
That was this real freaking bad. But yeah, no, the only the main content I watch on YouTube is you guys as well. I really like the cinematography that you come up with, in particular, Chance, for your Canadian. It's just like really good. You
Like the Tempest cocktail.
Yeah, you just need to like actually make a video once and now again.
All right.
But
You know how long that took to make, and nobody watched it.
I watched it.
Well,
It was only 6 minutes long. How am I going to Netflix and chill to that?
Oh, fair. Okay.
It's only 6 minutes commitment, Charlie.
We'll make a long, boring cut of it. It's like 10 minutes. Yeah.
Oh god.
Thank you.
All right.
Josh gets most of the credit for that, but thank you.
Before I reveal these, I want to just again thank everyone who made a super chat donation today. So we had Marquee Mark with a couple, Random Billy Bob, Stringer Films, Papa Sean 69, DJM 21, Inko, a couple of repeats for Marquee Mark and Billy Bob, and the monster splash in the pot Kawaru 5 with the $50 quadrillion super chat donation. Thank you all so very much for that. And so for me, my favorite has to go to the king, the GOAT, John, has to be. I think he's probably got more view hours than everyone else's channel in the entire hobby combined. Far and away, the biggest, the best. We miss you, John. We wish you would come back in some capacity. And then as for the worst, you guys aren't going to like this. The one guy that I absolutely, positively cannot stand is